Hello everyone, welcome back to Carpenter Station. So, last time we were building the majority of our tree farm. I've since rippled the design along a bit more. You've got this input and output here. Oh, it's already collecting a fair bit, because it is actually functional now, it's just rather slow. And it doesn't restock the sapling, so that's what we're doing just quickly here. If you've stuck around on the channel, you'll have noticed that I've already done a tutorial on how to do what I'm about to show you. But it's always helpful to have it ready and available. Anyway, so, bundled wire, it has to point into the assembler. And over like that. And we need brown for the sapling and white for the bone meal. So we should see if I'd keyed this properly. There. There we go, there's a sapling, and I actually don't want to be stood on this side when it decides to bone meal. Yep. Fortunately, that one doesn't seem to have worked. But it will eventually, because I have seen trees in this corner. Yep. Yeah, it's not using it. Which means it's trying, it's just not matching it. But suffice to say, that's all the wiring we need. We can pretty much just run this kind of cable along and into every other assembler. So that's that fully functional. So that gives us all of the charcoal we're going to need. And yeah, I just put saplings and bone meal in there as needed. But we still need obsidian and we still need flint. And ideally, I need to find some kind of source for our power that isn't also draining off of our diamond manufacturing. And there was one thing someone suggested, if I can just remember which one she says, yes, there it is, which is that we can use these excess leaves to make plant balls. And plant balls are part of a nutritious breakfast. They're used in making biofuel cells, which have a downside in that they're actually a lot less energy production efficient or whatever than coal-based fuel cells, but coal-based fuel cells are a bit pointless for us to make because we're already using... I'm putting this in the wrong place, aren't I? Yes. Because we're already using some charcoal anyway, and charcoal... It's currently balanced in a very strange way, which is that you get 4,000 energy from a single piece of coal, but if you use that coal in just like a bog standard cobblestone furnace, you get 8 charcoal. 8 times 4,000 is a lot more than the 4,000 you use from the coal. So energy-wise, it's a lot more efficient to use charcoal. But I'm going to try and use some of the more obscure pieces of energy. So there is something we can do with scrap, which is basically self-managing. But that requires I should mention most of these don't really have much of a net profit. But let's see, we've got our compressed plants, and if we take that over to, I know I have some around here somewhere. There they are. There's some empty cells. Yeah, my texture pack is still a little messed up because BDcraft is a little messed up. Okay, that gives us biocells, and if we extract these, I believe it is. Yep, there it is. That will give us some biofuel cells, which we can then stick into our canning machine with a fuel can to get some biofuel. Another suggestion people had was to use scaffolds. We have a lot of scaffolds left over from building Carpenter Station. But we've already run through a stack of those, and we're not even into this second bat box. So it's not a fantastic solution for power, it's also huge. So you get like a stack of scaffolds, and you don't really get all too much, speaking of that much power out of it. Versus, again, just making your... Oh, there we go, biofuel cells. And if I stick this in here, I might be able to just see it in action. It's probably not going to produce anything. But yeah, I'm really wanting to use these fuel cans, because they're kind of aesthetically appropriate for Carpenter Station. And speaking of aesthetics, I think something else I'm going to do very soon is get to work on decorations around here. Furniture and whatnot, because I went home over the weekend and got my hands on my copy of The Thing DVD, which is, I grant, now rather disturbing to watch, because, well, I've wandered down those holes now, it's a bit odd. Ooh, gold. I haven't found much of use for gold. I'm actually probably going to try to work on a jetpack. I don't know if that'll happen today. Although I do believe I have a bit of glowstone left over from... Yep, there it is, from the setup. So I could make a jetpack today, we might do that. Because there's a portion of the jetpacks that I don't think anyone else on the server is fully aware of. So that'll be fun to just kind of lord over them for a little bit. Yeah, I kind of want to get coal fuel cells going. That kind of ideally requires that I have... Oh, I need to extract these first, don't I? Yeah, it's a bit of a higgle-to-piggle thing. Yeah, I kind of need to set up the item delivery network through the station for that. You'll actually notice I've turned off my waypoints and my mini-map because it just gives us this nice open look. I'm used to having the gigantic mini-map in the side there, and it takes up quite a bit of space, I realise. But, hey, I can see it. Yep. And it's actually not that hard to fully automate a biofuel system. The slight problem is that you need to have a fairly reliable source of biomatter, be it plants or sugar canes and all sorts. I think sugar canes are probably the item of choice there, because you can spread quite a lot of them across a fairly small space. And there's a lot of highly efficient sugarcane farm designs out there, which might come in handy. I have to say, I'm recording this at about 3:30, and I have a class at 4, so if this episode's a little short, you know why. But yeah, power is more or less our word of the day. Yep, come on. There you go. May try and upgrade or overclock these at some point soon. Okay. So I'm just kind of trying to put my mind to rights on that. I actually worked out the power costs of running the tree farm. It's it's 12.1 EU per tree harvest per module. So if we multiply that by the 8 that are there, let's see, 8 times 12, 96, 96.8 EU for all of these harvesting once. And that, well, we can, that then magnifies across their whole usage, of course, but it's really, really small. It's like 96 EU, I believe, is less than a piece of redstone chucked into a bat box. So you can imagine it's a fair bit. Is that tree not grown yet? Interesting. This one may just be too close to the wall. But it has definitely plonked down saplings, because I've got 3 missing from here. Curiouser and curiouser. But oh well. So, let's see, what else have we got to do? Well, I need to use some of our diamonds to make a draw plate. And that is in order to start getting to work on the item delivery network. Let's see, so... Oh, I need 3 more for this to make a diamond panel. Right, well, let's plonk these back in here so I don't accidentally use them again. I'm not going to explain why that's again. And there is a filled fuel can, which we can stick in here and get some power out of it. Glug, glug, glug. Right, a few more and we'll have the car running and then we can get away from the zombies. Left 4 Dead reference, yay! Yeah, I need to sort out the power situation. I'm probably going to start building the other buildings that are part of Outpost 31 from the movie. Because, well, we've only got the 1 building at the moment, and nice as it is, it's still a bit sparse. We've got this big, vast, open wasteland over here. Which, it's clear, but that's... Holy Christ, is that snow blindness. I didn't really realise that until just now, but that is a lot of white. In fact, I can barely tell the division between the snow-covered earth and the sky. I guess that's just where I live. And, speaking of that, I guess, frame rate is holding at about 8, which, I've had a few more than a couple complaints about in the comments. But, here's a fun fact. I have a Never series. You may not have noticed this for quite a while, because I'll admit it's been a bit delayed by various things. But the Never is a lag fest, as everyone knows. It's basically made of lag. And I have filmed in the Never at 8 FPS for a very, very long time. I consider 8 FPS to be acceptable. Why? Because you can still see things happening. I'll grant you, like, 50, 60, whatever FPS is kind of pleasant to watch, but it's, like, it's excessive for what I do, really. And what I do is, namely, demonstrate things. I'm not really a combat-oriented Let's Player. So, let's see, what can we get to work on? Well, if I could go grab the bone meal and, or actually, I could just set up this wire into this one, which I'm pretty sure will work perfectly well. So let's just grab this. Doop. Doop. When they're free... You've picked this up. Have you just sent that into the network, you silly thing? Oh boy. Well, I know where it'll turn up, at least. Yep. Bundled cable, pneumatic tube. Got picked up by the transposer. There. Okay, we put that there, and we're gonna have to shift this over. Slight lisp, but it will. Okay. And if anything else goes missing, we know exactly where it'll turn up. Okay, now I don't want to be standing here. Sapling. There is bone meal in here, yes. Yes, there is. And it is wired up right. This is acting bizarrely problematic. If I just take it... Huh, that's interesting. Well, there is one difference here that I can think of that could potentially be responsible. Which is that usually when I build this thing, I put it with the wire going into the assembler from underneath. But here I have it... Oop, that doesn't go there. That's going to end up exactly where everything else has ended up, I imagine. Usually I build it with the bundled wire going in from underneath. But this time around, I've built it going at the side there, so... Let's just try and sort that. Don't need that. Okay, and the brown's going in here again. Yep. Handy thing of having it default. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go, that's working perfectly. Not sure why it decided to be so temperamental, but oh well. So that's a thing. If you wanna, if you wanna be wiring this stuff up, make sure that you don't put this above everything else. Although another comment I had, which is that we lose a lot of like saplings and leaves and whatnot from just the fact that we're only cutting out the core, which is partially intentional because it means if you only have like the slender direct drop in the middle of the tree, then anything that is in the middle goes straight down in front of the transposer. But the problem is that we lose a lot of saplings. We do occasionally pick up a few saplings, so these guys will work off fairly well, and if you stick like a stack in them, they will generally have more than a stack in them at one point. But yes, that is a slight drawback, so you do occasionally have to stick a couple of saplings in, but that's not a huge problem, I think. Yep, there she goes, building up. So let's go chuck these into our diamond maker. It is a bit eerie to be wandering around these hallways now. Yep, loading being a bit slow there. Yeah, I don't specifically know what it is that's causing my frame rates to drop so badly, because I am legitimately in a position now where I am playing the game with 25 or 30 FPS, but as soon as I hit the record button it drops quite magnificently to 7 or 8. It's weird that way, I don't know why it is. But there we go. So do we have anything? Yeah, 19 flint in there, because I macerated some of our gravel. Ooh, we don't have any obsidian. Right, well, I guess I'd better see about making some of the tools we're going to need to make our nether plant for that, then. So let's see, first we need a mining well, or a pump, or whatever you want to call it. That pump is what it's called. Also, shout out to Nipty, who is feeling quite a bit better, although he's still on the road to recovery. Pumpkins everywhere! Okay, so, pump requires a mining well, which is going to require a bunch of iron, but nothing too special. So, iron. And a dot of redstone. Which apparently doesn't want to give me that way. Oh. Okay, and we are going to need a few sticks, which I accidentally made in bulk at one point, but oh well. And that is... It's been a while since I've used gears. Do I have to make them into irons? Stone first, that's why. Okay, so stone is over here. Is it cobblestone, or... It's cobblestone, that's good. I was worried I have to use the smooth stone. Because I still haven't actually upgraded to an electric furnace. I probably should, because there's a mild efficiency increase in it. But not that huge a problem. Okay, so, yeah, power is the word of the day. Other things I'm going to be considering soon are the item delivery network, which I think you're all going to enjoy, because it had me scratching my head for a while, and then I wanted to murder someone when I figured out the solution. Oop, that's going to require a bit of glass. How can we get glass? Well, if I was an EMC fan, I would probably just convert some dirt or some stuff, but since I'm not, I guess I'll just macerate some stuff. Because, hey, that's something you can actually do, macerate cobblestone into sand. But that's going to take a bit, and I don't have much more time, I'm afraid. But anyway, that will make our pump, which we're going to need to collect our lava. And by popular demand, and also because I'd like to actually try it myself, we are going to be gathering our lava from the nether. Because, hey, it's the old homestead, and also it has a plentiful supply of lava. Yep, see, yeah, missing quite a few saplings in the process here. But we're getting... Actually, let's just check on the... We should see an imbalance here between saplings and bone meal. Yep, we've got slightly more saplings than we do bone meal. Which is because we are picking some up. But, yeah. So this will run for... This is a fairly stable design, even though it's only collecting the center of the tree. But of course it does depend on the tree that you get. Birch trees, for example, drop their saplings less often, I think. Or such is my experience. Make that even 10, shall we? Okay, and just chuck that in there for the moment. I'm going to set it running. And how did that power do? Ugh, did not last very long. Yep, that's the problem with biofuel. But it is renewable at the very least. We can automate it. It requires, I think it's like every single fuel can of biofuel costs us something like 1.5 tin. But we have a fair bit of tin. We've got like almost 2 stacks here, and I think there's still a bit more to smelt. Yep, over a stack of tin dust to smelt, so that's more like 3 stacks of tin. So that's a fair bit, and I hear a zombie. And he's probably not in here. But, yeah. So we're going to be using the old teleport across dimensions lava kind of trick. And that's going to require that I put together a deployer, some more tanks, all manner of wiring, a dimensional anchor, which I'm a little hesitant to do, because they tend to cause a fair bit of lag. At least as far as we can tell. We've already got about 3... Well, the server says that there's something like 5 of them on the server at the moment. But, as near as we can tell... I guess it's dawn. As near as we can tell, Dave's house has glitched. And, in fact, thinks it is always in the area of a world anchor. There we go. That's the one I was looking for. Handy little thing. Hold control and right click, it'll shove one of an item into your inventory. I've been using that a fair bit recently. But, yeah, we're running mildly out of time, and as quick as this furnace is, I don't think it's going to be quite ready for me to be off. So, I'm afraid I'm going to have to call it here. A fairly short a somewhat short episode, but I'm trying to keep the Carpenter episodes short, in comparison to the Never Expedition episodes, which are closer to being half an hour long. So I can get these filmed easier and edited faster and uploaded for your pleasure, all the better. So, been a bit of a talkie. We haven't really done much, but next few episodes we're going to be doing quite a bit more, so... leave your comments, leave your suggestions in the comments, of course, as to what we should do about this lighting situation. Bear in mind, I only want to use redstone, the lamps and such, for the backup lighting, because I really like the idea of having to invest some power and such into the main lighting. So that's why I've got these at the moment. So if you have ideas on that, by all means leave them in the comments, and I shall check them out. And meanwhile, I'm going to put together the components necessary for our Nether mining operation. Well, our Nether pumping operation, I should say. Mining is good in the Nether, but the natives aren't particularly pleased when you do it. And wow, that is expensive for one tank. Well, I guess I've got a lot of stuff to macerate. Okay. Catch you next time, guys.